You have to go.
Margo, can you go back to your seat?
Hello. Oh, I can't hear me.
Hey. Yeah, there's no
Hello.
sound coming through the headphones. That was Margo.
Hello.
You mucked around with the control pad thing. You turned all the volumes down. That's why you couldn't hear the buttons before. Duffer. Hello? What? Oh, we're in? Yeah. You want to start then? Oh, we're in? Yeah, come on. Good evening. Welcome to Here We Crow, episode 105. I hope it's 105 because I haven't looked it up, Ben.
I hope it's 105 because that's all the things I've worked for. Yep.
Excellent. Thank God for that. Welcome, everyone on YouTube, in the chat. Hello to everyone at the desk. Hi, Sam. Oh, yeah, he doesn't have a mic. He's there,
just
though.
while you're doing that, Sam has just edged his way into a production role. Like, oh, Nuzz,
He's
you
into
coming
this.
tonight? You can just be in my spot.
Yes, all right. Yeah.
And, of course, we have the sensible one, Nuzz.
Hello,
The sensible
everyone.
crow. Welcome back. Dan, hello.
Hello, hi.
And Ben, hello.
Howdy, Lauren.
And we have Margot and Violet in the background, who you might be able to see.
Yeah, it's scheduling
Yeah.
conflict at the Gaskin house, and the kids are here.
Anyway, episode 105. I want to hear some 105 stats,
Well,
please,
you're
Ben.
in luck then, Lauren. So, debut player, none other than Dean Howard.
Oh,
Have you got the picture there?
I do.
that's
quite-
really testing me, that one.
Oh, God, that's a head on it.
He's got dimples. He looks all right, I reckon. But
Okay.
anyway, so
Ben's putting him in the top 5.
99 to 99, 2 games, 5 possessions.
Wow.
So not
What happened?
Tore it up.
Well, not a lot for the Crows. He's from the Gold Coast originally. It looked like he's been, in 2023, been inducted to the Queensland Football Hall of Fame, though.
Wow.
Okay.
Originally from the powerhouse that was the Southport Sharks. Did play 179 games for West Adelaide and North Adelaide, and was coached by Andrew Jarman, who had a couple of quotes about him.
Oh, yeah? Give us those.
So his quote was, "If he was rolling his shoulders before the bounce, you knew you were right. He was on like a tiger, prowling around the centre bounce."
So he did that a couple of times then?
Well, it said if you didn't do that, you may as well have put him out in the paddock.
And that's what we ended up doing by the sounds of it?
So, and he did come runner-up in the McGarry in 2007. So,
All right.
so there you go.
Interesting
Dean
stuff.
Howard did more stuff than what he did at the Crows. So,
Did you see what he's up to these days, or didn't get that far?
he did move back to Queensland and he played a little bit for Southport, and since then I didn't get to finding out his life
No
story
LinkedIn?
after that. So yeah, it was a little bit rushed this evening. So
No worries, Ben.
2005 though. So do we remember 2005 very well?
Yes.
Oh, well, let's see. Sam might have some answers now
Yeah.
that he's not on the microphone. So,
There's a ghost to
Put him in the
my
chat.
left.
Put the answers in the chat, Sam.
all right, so where did we finish the minor round then?
Bottom.
Top. I think top.
That's right, that was top. So 17 wins, 5 losses, pretty good. Club champ,
Mark Rashido.
Roo.
Simon Goodwin.
You didn't even give me a chance to answer, Ben.
Oh, go slower.
Steaming through it. Have you got lots of
Yeah.
questions? Come on, then.
No, I don't have that many questions. I really should slow down. So leading goal kicker,
Scott Welsh.
Roo.
Ian Perry.
Stiffy.
it was
Pete-
Scott Welsh.
Oh,
It was back-to-back Scott Welsh because he was the year before as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing the second leading goal kicker, and this year it was Perry with 39.
Mm.
Welshie leading the way with 58. Our leading Brownlow getter,
Mark Rashido.
no,
McLeod.
Andrew McLeod.
no,
Simon
Simon
Goodwin.
Goodwin.
no,
Welsh.
Ben Hart.
no.
Nigel Smart.
No.
Oh my God.
Sean Wren.
Peter Vardy.
No.
Stiff.
Who?
I think you're going to get through every single
Has
player.
anyone in the chat? No.
Dean
no one in the
Howard.
chat?
I'm going to say maybe overall his career was underrated.
Tyson Edwards.
There you go.
Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
wow.
There you go. So
Quiet achiever.
now,
I said all the champions
Yeah.
except
Edwards.
Sorry,
Yes.
Tyson.
Everyone forgets about Tyson Edwards. So
the quiet achiever, as we
that's
say.
right. So we had 3 finals. Do we remember?
Oh, do I?
So qualifying final. We were first. We played fourth.
Port.
No.
Oh, St Kilda, wasn't it?
Yep. We
Yeah.
lost to St Kilda by 8 points. Semi-final.
That was Port.
Yep.
The 89 point, whatever it was, 87,
83.
83. Yeah. How can I forget?
I don't know, particularly because on the 83rd episode, I obviously had that as one of my stats.
I was at
Pretty,
all three of
pretty
them.
shattered you wouldn't remember that, Dan,
Yeah.
but all right. Prelim,
I was there.
you were there.
Oh, unless it's the year after. I was at one against West Coast.
It was against West Coast. Did you go across to Perth?
No, but
No.
so I've ruined your next week's quiz.
Yeah,
well,
I was at that one as well.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I think even maybe I was at that one.
Mm.
We were
Grey
all
clouds.
there.
Ben
Yeah.
Cousins doing a bit of stuff in the change
We were
rooms.
good for a
Yeah.
half, and then
I was also at the St Kilda one that you mentioned.
So yes, well we lost. We lost by 16 points. We were down by 32 at 3/4 time and got within 16, but couldn't get over the line. So that was the end of us. We had 3.
Ben Cousins got over the line, didn't he?
He sure did.
3 All-Australians this year.
Oh, Edwards.
It wasn't Edwards. So as I said,
Oh,
no one
what?
recognises Edwards.
No.
Well, it's got to be
umpires did.
Rashudo McLeod Goodwin.
Rashudo Goodwin's right.
Welsh?
The other one's a bit more left field.
Howard.
Not
Ben Hart.
Perry.
Ben
other,
Hart.
not other Paddock, just
Ben.
left field.
Hart.
Perry.
No,
Perry.
Welsh.
it was the truck Rutten.
Oh.
Of course it was.
So there you go. Now, I understand if we shed a bit of a tear, but I think this is possibly the last date of birth.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is it.
04, because we have one player, and we only have one player because they only count players who've actually had a game,
Okay.
and that's
They?
Daniel Curtin.
Wow.
So we have other players on the list, but they're yet to play in Oscar Ryan and
Is they you?
Edwards. No, this is the official site that I go to for date of births. If they haven't played, they don't get on the.
Jeez, we need a debutant before next week.
They do.
Well, we might have to get into the women's.
Well, that's
Ben.
the thing, because we'll have a draft, but they won't get a game, and anyway, we will be well past.
I noticed you haven't done
06.
any women's birthdays, so
Yeah,
maybe
what's
you
that?
need to extend to that.
All right.
We are in women's season.
I think either way we'll struggle, but sure.
Feedback taken. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Or maybe you could start doing
I'm sorry, I failed you all for so long.
you could do the years like
misogynist
next
ways.
year's. If next year's 2006, maybe you could go 2 + 0 + 0 + 6 is 8, so 1980.
Oh.
Sounds like a stretch.
Is that it?
Just like this segment.
That's my little segment done.
All right, fantastic. Well, we're going to talk about the AFLW and see what's pumping us up. Sam.
Music.
Goal rings.
I'm going to go first, get it out the way. Laneway's bringing Brat Summer. Charlie XCX. I can't wait to see Charlie XCX
Yes.
at Laneway. I'm going to buy the ticket tomorrow. I'm broke. Sam, oh, you're not on a microphone. Nuzz, what's pumping you up this week? Anything?
End of holidays. All the parents out
Also
there.
good,
Yep.
yes. Dan, a similar thing.
That is true. I also had my best friend's wedding on the weekend, and it was amazing, except for him being a Port supporter, which I just feel.
Ugh.
You
Being
never
on a-
told me that.
Being on a footy podcast, I should probably bring that up. But I did grill him on it during my speech.
Did you?
About him being a fair weather Port supporter.
Well, you never told us that before. I've met Jason a couple of times.
It's unfortunate. I try to leave that out.
Now. Yeah, obviously.
But yeah.
And
that-
when you said we were best friends, you didn't mean that then, Dan?
Oh, sorry, man. Awkward. Just going to change the subject. But no, that was good. And that's it. Ben.
Okay. A couple of things, actually. So,
Are they garden related?
no.
Okay, continue.
So I'm allowed to continue now. So,
Well, there is something garden related, wasn't there, apparently, in the chat.
There was, yes, I can come to that too. Yeah, a little bit of crows in the wild. So, but
Wow.
no, for me it was probably not so much for the game, but going to the footy with Lily the other night.
Yes.
She had a wow of a time.
She really did. She had a fantastic time.
She was amazed that there would be a large dancing crow, and she got up close and personal with Claude. Had a photo op with him. Loved doing the draw your own crows poster.
Yeah,
really
I think that's a
that.
really good initiative by the Crows.
So she loved that. And then at the end of the game, she lucked out and got it signed by Sarah Allen on her 75th game.
How good.
Wow.
So she I think words to the effect of, everything's just happening right for me tonight, Dad.
Great.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, so-
Dan, you forgot
Yeah.
your Guernsey win.
You just reminded me of that and something else. The other thing I remembered while you were saying crows in the wild is apparently Wayne Miller lives near me somewhere. So that's interesting. I haven't seen him, but other people have. And for those who got to do the spin the wheel challenge that you got, I think it was sent to our mobile phones for members. I actually won a signed AFLW Guernsey, which I was shocked by.
It's on Dan Cam right
It's
now.
on Dan Cam right now. So the truth is you can win these competitions. So it's not always better luck
It's not
next
totally
time.
rigged. I've got a few pump ups in the chat. Adam Wilmus also says end of holidays, hell yeah. Boise's got a cheeky corn gig coming up. Tism was great. I agree. I was there. Rat Homecoming. We will get onto that later. And table 4 for the Club Champ Awards was bloody good too. Oh, yeah. Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Boise.
We didn't get invited to the Club Champion Awards. It's bullshit. Come on, Crows. Surely you want us doing red carpet interviews.
I couldn't help but think. I couldn't help but think of Kane Corns when you said corn first, because some people call him corn with a K. Yeah, but it's the band.
Yeah, the band.
And I did have one other thing.
Oh, sorry, Ben.
So I now, after 2 years in the house, have a new shower head.
Whoa.
I did see that on your notes.
Yeah, I can now stand up perfectly tall.
What were you doing
and not
before?
hit my head, ducking.
Wow.
So yes, it would come to about there on me, the previous shower head. Now you just can't
You're
imagine the
laughing.
quality of life that has improved.
How's the pressure?
It's good. It's good. It's a multifunction, so it's handheld. You can do the normal. You can do the little jet.
I can see your posture's already improved.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yep. Invader.
Got creepers creeping around.
Yeah.
People around place
Hello,
tonight.
Jad. While the creepers are creeping
G'day,
around
Jad.
and doing things, can you in the chat give us something? Britt says, tell us how you won it, Dan. Share your secrets.
I literally just pressed the button and it spun and it said you won. And I was like, nah, this is a scam for a second. And then it said, I got an email saying that you'll get directions of where to pick it up from later in the week. And I did.
That's fantastic.
And it was easy. You could choose between the standard Guernsey or the Indigenous Guernsey. I chose the standard one because I've already got a Indigenous Guernsey at home, or a couple actually. But I haven't got any of the women's ones, so it was good to get one so we can display it for the podcast.
Mr. Drawsome says everyone's visualising you in the shower now, Ben. I'm not sure if they're visualising you
Not me.
standing up straight or hunched over, though.
I think that was the
I think
intention,
it's
wasn't it?
straight up now, I reckon. So, yeah.
Oh, we've got more creepers.
Margot's back. All right, I think Sam's brought himself in a microphone because he can't handle this just hanging out over here.
Yeah, you must be bored, Sam.
Are we going to talk about the game now?
Yes.
Do you want to do that unplugging and plugging in while we're...
Did you want your crows in the wild now, or is
Yeah,
that
give us the
later
crows
segment?
in the wild story, please, Ben.
So yeah, as Nuzz suggested, it is a garden-related thing. So I was up to Murray Bridge to get some plants for our front yard, and none other than young Nick Murray and ex-crow
Ooh.
Ned McHenry were there. So
Did you
Yeah.
give your condolences, Ben? Or
no, I'm really not a networker, so I think I always feel
Networker.
slightly awkward when I know who someone is, but they have no idea who I am.
I'm
So-
sure if you said I'm Ben from Here We Crow, they would have been all over that.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of our comments haven't been that positive this year, so I don't know if they'd really want to talk to me. So we'll see. Well, I don't know, but yeah,
Ned
no,
would
they
have.
were-
He's a nice guy.
he did say I did get eye contact, and I gave him a nod, and he gave me nothing.
You
But-
should have gone
no.
like, done the old fishing. Like,
I should have said, good luck with your next venture. But they seem to have a camera guy with them. I think they were YouTubing something to do with their purchases. This was at the state
the
Flora.
Shark's Tales Instagram.
Yeah, so I think it was something to do with getting some, I'd say, dry land appropriate plants for their farm out near Strathalbyn, I'd say.
Excellent.
So, yeah, how about
Makes
that?
sense. Wonder if Ned's going to get to another club, or is he just going to mainly stay here, SANFL, country footy?
A lot of his interviews is he's really excited about his next chapter. He doesn't seem, he's not putting himself out there as I'm desperate to continue being an AFL player.
I've been meaning to ask you this, Nuzz, because we've been chatting through the last couple of weeks, and you've mentioned this a couple of times with Ned in the sample, but how does that work if he's actually delisted by the Crows? Can they still have him on the sample list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's just not on the main list.
Just not on the squad.
Yeah,
per
and they've
se,
actually changed the rules now, so we can have more leniency with who we pick and who we can't pick. So a lot of junior development sort of players and extra players that have played SANFL. I think Jez McLennan, who was rumoured to be coming to our club at mid-season, he's actually joining Port, for example. And under the previous years, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So we haven't done anything. I don't know what we're doing. Maybe we will get Ned.
Yeah.
But there are other options.
We've had ex-AFL players like we've had Matty Wright and Madgen from Collingwood.
There has to be certain parameters, but I'm not sure what they are.
I just didn't know what the deal was when we delist him, and then it's like, all right, well, now you're back on the sample team.
But now I think they're pretty desperate to make us not feel so unhappy, so we've got a few more things we're allowed to do with our team.
Interesting. All right, we ready to talk women's?
We are.
Okay, well, we've had 3 games in the last 2 weeks, and Jesus, those first 2 were absolute stinkers. So we're going to let Ben gloss over those ones, and we'll get into the GWS game.
When we say gloss over, we mean gloss over. So
no one really wants to talk about either of those games.
St Kilda, my 2 notes were very tight, frustrating game. Not a lot seemed to go right for us, and not the forecast shootout that Lauren promised us.
Yeah. You don't need to remind us again, Ben.
You
reminded me on the night and now again on the podcast.
So
anyway.
He didn't come off the top turnbuckle.
So stats-wise, we're pretty equal for kicks, but we were like 90 to 61 handballs. Again, 36 to 22 inside 50s, so you'd expect that maybe that we'd have a bit more of a dominating game. But again, forward connection and scoring has been a challenge. We lost marks, but the strange thing is we're winning marks inside 50, but I'd suggest that maybe those marks are fairly shallow entries where we're still not really within range.
Yeah.
So we're not getting that mark inside 30 or 25.
They seem to be all like right near the arc there, don't they?
Yeah, so it sort of skews how useful a stat that is. They almost need a different stat, I reckon, for that. Yeah. So that was that one. Are we going to do votes and then move on to the next one?
Yeah.
I'm happy to read out some votes.
Yep.
We'll just quickly run through it.
Yep. So for me, I went for, it's going to be repeated a bit, but old Marinoff for 3, 2 for Maddie Newman, and 1 for Munyard, largely due to that impressive goal.
Very good goal. Dan, who'd you have?
Well, I just really took the piss with this, to be honest. I put Munyard for 3.
That's not what the award's about, Dan.
Well, this time I gave Munyard the 3 votes because I was sick of giving him to Noffy all the time. And she got that Goal of the Year nomination, which I thought was probably the most exciting thing that happened in that game.
Yep. The one highlight.
The one highlight. So she deserved 3 for that. It wasn't about being prolific, but Noffy was prolific, so she got 2, and Hatchard got 1 for me.
Cool. I got 3 for Noffy. I put Chelsea Randall for 2, and 1 for Maddie Newman. Sam, did you have votes? No. Didn't think so.
And just quickly, the voting system here has much more integrity than the Brownlow. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are experts.
Marinoff may get a similar skew.
And I wasn't being facetious. I'm being serious. I mean, Cripps getting 45 is a piss take. Honestly, ridiculous.
Well, it might end up being an Ebony Marinoff on slaughterhouse.
In that case, I'm all for it.
Who did you have for your soldiers on there, Ben?
I went with Gould just because she just keeps presenting strongly. Not always getting every single mark because it's often double teamed or we're just not kicking well to her, but she just keeps having a go.
Yep.
I had Neve Kelly.
Oh, yes, very good. I had Hannah Munyard. All right, Crows v Melbourne.
So,
just when you thought it couldn't get more dour.
This is one of the worst games I've ever seen the Crows women's team play. 1 goal, 8-14 to to 2 goals for 16. I am so glad we didn't go to that game.
If that was on any night except Wednesday, it would have been even worse because, you can deal with the gaming that crap.
I was watching at home and, in that last quarter when it was just like back and forth. And even Matt was watching with me and he was getting so annoyed and frustrated by it. It was awful watch.
So, so my notes are, not one to remember. High pressure, we couldn't find a way to get through. And when we did in the last quarter, we just missed our opportunities. So we had enough of it to win, but we just couldn't take it. Stats, again, we were really high handball numbers, like 117 to 79. But often at the moment, it feels like we're handballing to someone who's then under pressure. So then they do another handball.
Almost every time.
So I think our handballs are up because we keep handballing to someone who has no chance to get a decent kick out.
Yep.
So it's not a great stat for us at the moment.
I know another team that does that.
It's uncanny how similar they are,
isn't it?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of handballs that don't lead to an effective clearance out the front
the school
of
Rory Laird and Mr. Crouch.
So
who let them in the coaching?
again, we win inside 50s but don't get the result. This was one game where I did feel like free kicks were a little lopsided and a bit outrageous.
Absolutely shocking.
13 to 25. Doesn't take away from the rest of the game was pretty woeful, but that was very frustrating to watch on top of it.
Just on that, Ben, before you move on, can anyone answer why holding the ball is adjudicated completely differently in the women's than it is in the men's? They're giving them 1 second to get rid of the ball.
But also, I noticed yesterday in the game, yesterday's game, they were calling holding the ball after the player had disposed of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, they don't know how long you're giving them because you're not blowing the whistle. Then they finally handball it and you say holding the ball. But the balls are not in their possession at that point.
I was thinking about it and they haven't come out and said this, but I was thinking, could it be like that they're trying to stop the concussions from players getting slung like in men's when they sort of hold on to them that little bit longer and they sling them on the ground, but they're making the call that quickly to avoid those kinds of injuries?
Well, it's either they're making it too quick or they're making it way too slow. Like there's no consistency there whatsoever.
We did it in the men's for one round. I forgot which round it was, and then it just went away again. I don't know why that was. Maybe they're retesting it for the upcoming men's season, like these trial things in the Lightning Cup. This might be a good opportunity for them to think, lesser numbers so we can experiment, which would lessen the integrity of the league, in my opinion.
Well,
that'd be a bad take, but it wouldn't surprise me knowing how the AFL works.
That could be a thing, but I just think these umpires are just they're not qualified.
Well,
that's another issue entirely, and the investment in umpiring needs to be so much more. I mean, there's so many. There'd be 40 people that they could cull at the AFL who are on $500,000 a year. Put that money straight into umpiring. Problem solved.
I agree.
It really is that simple.
I agree with that call on them not being qualified, but they've clearly, with the holding the ball, been told to call it really quickly, and when the players are the first to the ball and then they get it bottled in by 2 players, they always get pinged as well. Which is an old thing that used to frustrate everyone.
They don't always, though. That's the problem. It's not consistent.
I feel like they're pretty consistent.
It's still on and off.
Consistently bad.
So,
Well, there was one yesterday where Neve Kelly got it out of the contest, and she had been tackled for a little while, but it wasn't like a 360 round, and she handballed it out and then got pinged holding the ball. I was like, that does not make any sense.
Yeah.
It's actually infuriating. Anyway, let's continue talking about how terrible this game was.
And last that I had was, again, 10 marks to 2 inside 50, but I don't think a lot of those 10 marks were close to home.
No.
And if they were, we would have hoped that we'd kick more than 1 goal for the night.
Yeah, we whole half goalless. Terrible.
So
and Melbourne with the spare defenders in the back, which we did not address.
Well, and a lot of teams are doing that. There's been a lot of, people saying, AFLW is a shambles now with the compressed fixture, that everyone's just, if you're not very good, you just put all your players in defence. And I think at the moment there isn't enough penetration to actually work through that. So, so it's making some pretty low score lines lately.
All right, let's say some votes. What do you got?
3 I went with Randall, 2 for Marinoff and 1 for Hatchard.
Dan?
I went boring with my 3 this time, Noffy. I gave 2 to Mueller and 1 to Chelsea Biddell.
Not bad. I'm going to assume Sam doesn't have votes for this one either. 3 for Randall for me, 2 for Noffy, and I gave 1 to Chelbo as well.
Oh, nice.
Sarah Allen, Soldiers on? Sure, press a button for this one.
Soldier on, soldier on.
Sam just wanted something to do.
Who you got, Dan?
I've got Jess Allen for this one.
Ben, who you got?
I went with Martin, 10 tackles. Less ideal was negative 11 metres gained.
I almost went her too, but I changed it to Hatchie.
Yep.
All right, and Crows versus GWS happened yesterday. A much better game to watch. 14 goals. I think, was that our highest score so far?
This year.
This year.
We've beaten GWS by, I think we've scored previously like 98 or something against them.
Yeah, okay.
So.
14 goals, 8 to 4 goals, 4. Very good game. What you got for us about that, Ben? Anything?
So first quarter was looking a lot more of the same, with getting a lot of territory, forward 50 entries without any result. But I think as GWS got more tired, we got a bit more space and time, and ended up running all over them. So initially they went with the whole stack our back line. They had a goalkeeper for a period there that was just, I think it was Garnett, that was just waiting for us to kick towards, and then she'd pick it off and kick out.
Yeah.
But we were able to, as the game went on, we were able to just blow them out of the water. We had 65 to 26 hit-outs, so that's a paddling. 50 to 14 inside 50s. You better believe that's a paddling. So, and we had
Simpsons for anyone who doesn't know.
I thought if Nuzz is on, I've got to add something in. So, and for this one, we had 20 marks inside 50. So that is a heck of a paddling. That's a lot of marks. Again, I don't know how many close. So we did get a few in that last quarter where we had Ponta taking a few in close and connecting with Gould as well.
But it was good to see Ponta back on the scoreboard as well.
That's right. So, so that was really good. And we had 31 tackles inside 50. So that it lived in our 50.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
It was a much nicer game to watch in that
GWS
respect.
are shit.
We
Sorry,
should play
Alex.
them more often.
Sorry.
I thought Melbourne were too until we played them.
No, they've been good for many years, though.
They've got the
dam
ability,
had to break at one
They've
point.
got the ability to put pressure on and just clog up a game, Melbourne, whereas GWS can't do that.
Look, we would have won the Melbourne game had we been able to kick straight.
Yeah.
We had the opportunities.
We got absolutely pummeled with points. I don't know what the hell was going on that night, but I'm glad we sorted it out for the GWS game. In the midst of all those games, Ebony Marinoff became the first AFLW player to rack up 2,000 disposals.
She did.
And she has also taken the lead on the Coaches' Votes leaderboard.
Did you see Corey's comment in the chat? As good as Erin was, Noffy is the greatest women's player in the Compass scene.
I mean, she's pretty up there. I still want her to tidy up her disposal efficiency a lot.
I think she's showing a lot more composure than she was in previous years.
There's another stat as well. Sorry to cut you off. But she's the first ever player in men's and women's to get 25 contested touches and 15 tackles in a game.
Yeah,
So
it's huge. She's an amazing player. Don't get me wrong.
But I saw that there was that one where she really checked her kick and just did a short one instead of just blazing forwards.
Well, I think she's just a victim of how the game is played, which is high pressure contest, and there's not a lot of space. Like, it's just so in there. Everyone's just around the ball all the time. It's really hard to actually have good disposal when that's happening. So that will come in time, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, Brisbane do it to an extent. They find a way to speed out of clearance. It's just we're not doing that at the moment.
Jake, don't be in the chat saying Jazz Garner is the best. Get out of here.
Oh, that was Jake. What Jaden said, she was like young Dangerfield, got it, get it and hoof it.
Yeah.
She's been getting better though.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's really hard for players to improve having so little game time and
I think
such a short period of training.
Garner's quite a different player to Marinoff. Like she's a much more damaging player. She can go forward, take a big mark, kick a goal more than Marinoff would. So she's more of a mid forward, and whereas Marinoff is a in the middle, getting a lot of tackles sort of a player. So different sorts of players.
I think after that big clusterfuck of games, sorry kids, you know, the opinion on where we sit as a team, I feel like after that St Kilda and Melbourne game, it does feel like we're probably just below those couple of top rungs. We're probably like 4th or 5th best team.
I don't know. Well, it's hard to say. I reckon we're probably top 3.
I reckon
Brisbane,
we're 3rd or 4th.
Brisbane, North, Crows. Who else is up there?
Well, really? North seem to be. I mean, they are top at the moment, but I'm worried about when we play them. And obviously, Brisbane's our bogey team. Yeah, maybe it is more third or fourth. I can't think of.
I mean, Hawthorn's ahead of us, but I don't know how tough their run has been. And
Well, we beat them.
Well,
Yeah,
we smashed them. I don't know. I think definitely the North Melbourne game is going to be tough for sure, but it is at home, so hopefully we'll get that home ground advantage.
We get to watch that loss live.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Would the North women's team beat the men's team?
Possibly.
Well,
The fact that we're talking about it is pretty damning for the men's team.
Yeah,
It's possible. All right. We've got some votes.
we do.
All right. Ben, go for it.
I had to give this one to Marinoff, 41 possessions and everything else she did. So
Yeah, ridiculous.
I went with 2 to Stevie Lee Thompson. I thought she was on early when the game was a bit harder.
Yep.
Others sort of racked up a bit more as they fell away. And I did give 1 to Gould. She was only credited with 1 contested mark, but I thought the way that she got up there, maybe that's not contested because she's just too good and gets clean hands
Not much
to
of a
it.
contest.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
too Gould.
That's right. So,
That's gold, Jerry.
well, okay, that's me done.
Dan?
Yeah, I had Noffy as well for 3 and Neve Kelly for 2. And then I actually went with Thompson for 1 as well. I thought that when there needed to be a bit of energy into the game early, she was the one that brought it and obviously kicked the first goal. And I think she just does a lot of those pressure acts.
Stevie Lee Thompson is a grunt player for mine. And Ben, you can just copy and paste Dan's votes because I had the exact same.
Nice one.
Sam, did you bother doing votes for that game either? Okay, good to see that you're involved. All right, last Sarah Allen Soldiers on.
What a stitch
Press
up.
the button again.
Soldier on, soldier on, soldier on.
Ben, who have you got for you, Sarah Allen Soldiers on for this weekend?
Actually went with Taylor Levy. I just thought she had 7 tackles and I thought she actually looked all right.
Yeah, she did actually.
She showed something.
She got a bit more of the ball than she has the last few weeks, for sure.
So,
Dan?
I went with Mad Dog Maddie Newman this time. I think that elite goal she kicked on the run was a really good one. But yeah, she's just been consistently like that third best player in terms of racking up the disposals every week, and we absolutely need that because, you know, once you sort of get past that and sort of Neve Kelly and a couple of the others, then we haven't got many prolific ball winners. So we absolutely need someone like her to get that next level of possessions.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with how Maddie's tracking at the moment. I gave mine to Danielle Ponta. Been quiet the last few weeks. Got a couple of goals. Nice and nifty.
Nice, agree.
Surprised you didn't go Noffy, Ben.
well, that was a lot of contested possessions and tackles,
Yeah, I
wasn't
know,
it? So it's worthy of a 3-vote Soldiers on double.
You're going to bring that back at some point.
You haven't done it though, so don't even think about it.
You can't change it now.
And we are up against Collingwood this coming Sunday, so
And
we get a
they're
nice
terrible.
7-day break. I think they're middling.
They are 17th.
Oh, well, I'm wrong. I thought they were middling, but
They
maybe
normally are a reasonable team, but this year they stink. They've won 1 game. They've beaten Gold Coast.
not. Well, they stink, Dan, so hopefully we'll be able to wrap that one up.
They got beaten, I think, by the Bulldogs.
Port.
And the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Port
no
have been
good.
travelling okay the last few
It
weeks
is in
as well.
Victoria Park, though, you know, hostile
Oh, yeah.
territory, so who knows?
Yeah.
Well, we are, like I said, we are coming off a 7-day break at least, so we'll have a bit of rest time. And hopefully we'll see maybe a chopper in the mix, maybe a boiling over.
Boilo.
Hello.
Some new faces in
Lauren's
the team.
here a week. She'll see herself out.
Yeah.
Just about Victoria Park, I love. Well, people talk about the standard of the grounds, and I think they need to improve for the obviously, like, there's a reason why we don't play suburban grounds. It's, you know, 2 reasons: the ground itself and the capacity.
Yep.
But the ground can be made better. But I love the fact that it's gone back to suburban grounds. That they haven't just put it into like an empty Etihad or empty MCG. It's really, I don't know. There's something about watching a professional league at a club kind of ground with a club atmosphere is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think NRL do it really well. Their attendances are down quite a bit, but if you go to like the Cronulla ground or where is it? Balmain, like the actual original Balmain Oval, like it is such a great atmosphere. You can't replicate that at any AFL ground.
It's definitely that community vibe
I
down
reckon the
there.
only exception would be when we're playing like a showdown, you could actually get a decent crowd. to like an Adelaide Oval for that sort of game.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. But few and far between. That's the point.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised they haven't.
I think you could have marquee games. Well, yeah.
They're going to do that next year, aren't they?
Well, they should.
Or have like curtain raises and stuff.
Well, it depends when they're actually playing. I don't think it's been very popular, this whole 2 games in a round. So
no,
I think that'll change. It'll be interesting to see how far forward they push it. I think Starcevic came out and said he loved the fact that, we're planning to play in November, so he seemed to like the fact that it was going all the way through to November, so he doesn't seem to want to push it too far forwards. But whereas, I don't know, I think football, you can get a bit of fatigue by the time you've got to the end of the grand final.
Absolutely.
So we certainly are getting a bit of fatigue.
And also, I
don't know what you're talking
think
about,
it would
Ben.
be.
We can't all just soldier on like sand.
Do I press the button?
I feel like if we did align more with the men's season, then that would save all of the Gronk knuckle draggers from bitching about the AFLW because they'll be too distracted by the men's.
Oh, how bad was that the other day?
I think you'll find they'll still express their opinions.
Yeah.
Boring.
They'll be quelled. Though.
It was so. I loved it. It's funny because we complained about it so much when it was pre-season and it was hot, but I still think that's the best spot for it. Now that I've seen the other side.
Yeah, this isn't it, is it?
No, this isn't it. No.
Well, the only thing is, like, with climate change, it probably can't continue because they'll be playing in 50-degree weather in 3 years.
Yeah, but I think for interest level, well, certainly from my point of view, I still watch every game. I'm still interested, but
not interested enough to write any votes down.
No, well, I like the fatigue's the best way to put it. I think I'm footy out. It's I've had.
So maybe we just need to not watch as many men's games.
Maybe not
during the season.
Save some up.
Yeah.
Maybe if our men's team can start being really good, then we'll be pumped still all the way through.
That's just nonsense.
We've just got to stop watching. Stop watching like Hawthorn play every game and don't watch Collingwood versus
anytime we're at the G, anytime we play interstate.
No, I would say watch the Crows, but just
no. I'm
the neutral
talking
games,
just
don't bother.
pick 10 games, like most of the home games, maybe one showdown, and then just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, but
like if the fair weather supporters.
Like Port supporters do.
If you did share time where both teams are playing at the same time, generally you have a week on, week off being in Adelaide or not Adelaide, same with Port, you could potentially just say the week that your team that you support is having an away game, you get to go watch the women actually at their home game.
Yeah, and not at the same time as the AFL game.
That makes too much sense, man.
But, I don't know. I think at the moment it's making it all feel like it's too long, but AFL loves it to be in the news for every single week of the year.
Don't they ever? Just carry us through to the draft.
Speaking of that, trade week.
Trade radio that they
even though it's 10 days, somehow that's a week.
We need the stinger. Can you press the
which button do I do?
For be aggressive so we can start talking about how...
I don't know how to use these things.
Start learning, Nuzz.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Yes.
You should see my setup at home. It's disgraceful compared to this, honestly.
Well, that's saying something.
Old Commodore 64.
But yes, you mentioned the word trade, so we had to press the trade week stinger or trade month or trade whatever. That seems to go on forever.
Days.
Trade year.
Are we going to let Sam do his segment, or are you just going straight into trade?
Oh, well, now we're going to trade because we pressed the button.
Well, Nuzz is here, so we might as well talk about it.
Let's talk about trade.
All right, off you go.
What a boring... I was saying before how boring this is, but that means that there's solidarity in what we want to achieve. We're getting the results that we want. No one thought that we'd get coming because, you got Josh Money coming out there. He's lying.
Oh, dearie me, Josh Money. I've got a good for you.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, that's all right. We'll save that. Great. Yeah, Josh Money, if you're watching, just sit on that type. We got some, goss. But no, disgraceful reporting, let's be fair. Like, Theo, please come back.
Well, it's funny you say that because after that Josh Money story drop about Sid Draper, I did notice that the next story to come out of the Crows camp was in fact dropped by Theo.
Wow.
They have cancelled Josh Money, I think. Cancelled.
Yep. No, absolute shit. You can't do that. The problem is you can be like Kane Corns and have a bit of hyperbole about you and say extreme things, but it has to come from the truth, and it can be an opinion about the truth. But when you just quite literally lie.
Well, his reasoning was, I said that it was people close to Sid Draper, and that's who told me that. Well, then go to Sid Draper and talk to him about it then before you start.
Your professional network.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've had two separate people in the chat go with off the money.
Both winners.
It's true.
Yeah. But we... Neil Bullen was talked about quite early on as being a fait accompli, which is great, and we'll get into that shortly. But no one thought we'd get Peatling. When was the last time that there was a race between clubs, including Melbourne clubs, and we were the one that won?
Yeah.
We won something.
Seems foreign,
Well
doesn't
done.
it?
Yeah, we won. Good on us.
It's the first win since AFLX.
Yes. So anyone talking about yes, that
Fettuccine.
That Sheeny with the X trophies just burnt into my mind.
It's great, isn't it?
That's the first thing I thought of.
I love it. Same. I've got the exact photo in my head too. But no, it's fantastic. We're clearly going for all chips in now, and we know by halfway through next year if it's the right game plan. You got to have a bit of a grain of salt with it, because if there's 5 injuries or 10 injuries, like how much can you engage what we're doing is correct? But if we've got a full list and we're 4 and 8 by the bye, Nick's out of there.
Because we've got a dozen players training already with their shirts off. So.
Exactly. That's it. Josh Money exclusive there. Yeah. But to anyone out there, don't worry about the salary cap. Don't worry too much about the draft capital. We've got a lot of good youngsters anyway. If you look at a core group of people who are under 22, 23, there is a lot in comparison to many of the other clubs that are on the rise. So don't worry too much about that. It seems that our list demographic is pretty much on the money, pardon the pun.
Yeah. And can I digress to the BNF leaderboard?
Yep.
The top 10, Lachlan Scholl, Isaac Rankin, Josh Rochelle, Darcy Fogarty, Max Michaelani, Jake Saligo.
Yeah.
How good.
That's like
all under 25.
6 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Albeit in a year we came 4th last, but I'll put that bit
Look, it's still okay. It's still okay. Okay.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think we what else can we do? Really, we're going to get pick 4, Tyler Welsh, which is a free hit. If he's at pick 50, absolute free hit. No brainer. Don't worry too much about it. He's a long-term project. If it works, great. If it doesn't, who cares? It didn't cost much.
Do you think that was a 4D chess move by the Crows there?
Maybe 5D without realising it. Yeah. Oh, look, Tyler, he look, to be honest, if you look at the time itself that he ran in the 2K, because anyone out there, he had a combine, obviously, every year, and he came very last in the 2 kilometre time trial. But he did get 3rd in the vertical leap, and he came middle range for I think it was just about 3 seconds of the 20 metre sprint, which is really good. So it shows his explosive power. He's definitely a fast twitch type fibre person, but he just needs to work on that tank. The good news is that's one of the easiest things anyone can work on in terms of fitness. Like you could be a marathon runner, but you'll never kick the ball more than 40 metres, right? No matter how you train, no matter what you do. Whereas running, just run more, mate. Just fucking run, would you? And that's a good thing. And the time that he got in the 2K, compared to a normal person who runs every day and is fit, is good. But
like
in terms of AFL, no. So he just needs to make that leap, and Burjo, get onto it.
So Ben, what's your 2K time trial? What's that looking like?
I stick to longer distances myself. So I have been looking at old Bozza from the sauna. I might need to look at getting a sauna because I occasionally see him talking about his times and distances. And I would not be able to keep up with him for very long at all.
You might have to hit up Bozza for some hot sauna tips.
I get the feeling he might be a slightly leaner build than I am, and much more endurance.
He's a bit shorter, I think.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Just a little bit. I don't know if that makes much difference.
I went for a run once.
Yeah, me too. It was about 15 seconds.
I got back on the running train last week, actually, and
that's great.
It nearly killed me. I did my old run from Hawthorndine up into Belair, and I realised how much a very gentle incline
it's the worst
does it out of me. So it was very hard work, very slow, and high heart rate.
Great. Anyway, back to the drafting and trade shit. What else have we got to talk about?
Tyler Welsh would have beaten me.
Tyler Welsh, yeah.
Well, that's a good sign.
Jaden said in the chat, Dale Thomas said good runners look good in pre-season, then the footballing talent starts to show and they start to fall off.
True.
All right, bring Dale Thomas onto the coaching.
Now we've swapped pick 46. We've given that to Melbourne for a future 3rd rounder.
Yeah.
And how are we going to work this out with the Peatling trade? It sounds like we're going to give a future second round to
and maybe
GWS
a future third as
and
well.
maybe a
Like,
future third.
I mean, it's a future third. What's
Surely
that
this
like?
gets wrapped-
54? Like, who cares?
Surely this gets wrapped up tomorrow.
I'd think so. Yeah. Why
Like-
we'll leave it to the last day, unless like Reid's asleep or something like that. But which he may very well be. That's okay. Well, yeah, he might have just given up. Now he's going to Collingwood.
Well, is he?
I don't know. I will ask him because I have organised an interview with Justin Reid, and I can confirm that is happening. That will be after the trade period, so look out for that one, of course. But I don't know how honest he's going to be in terms of the Collingwood thing. But the fact that the AFL.com is reporting it,
Well,
there's
it
some sort of
obviously has
substance,
legs,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be as honest as Dan Houston about staying at Port.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'll ask him. Don't worry.
well, if Justin Reid goes, that means a position's freed up, Nuzz. So
Yes, I know. Yep, yeah, $20 an hour. I'll be fine. Yeah. No, I really. There's so many. I mean, Jimmy Bartell. There's rumours out there that he wants to become a list manager, and it often sees that a lot of. There's different ways of becoming CEOs of a club or that kind of, godfather of football type role. And one of them is list manager. You look at David Noble, of course, and there's many other examples of list managers. That's what Justin Reid wants to do. Of course, this is his next role, head of football. After that, COO, CEO. The world's his oyster.
that's crazy to think, isn't it?
Yeah, Jimmy Bartell, just expedite him, mate. 2 years list manager, 2 years head of footy. Then Tim, you're out.
Come on in.
No, sorry, Tim. No, we just need Jimmy Bartell in the club. Like, just get him in, and it's enough of being shit and being stingy. And what does frustrate me about seeing, I don't want people losing their job, but you have to remember that it's football and it's a cutthroat industry. No one's going to begrudge someone working as a travel agent or a plumber, right? But if you go into the AFL system, you should expect a short lifespan and then hope that it's more, right? And we've got these coaches that I'm not sure, why aren't we culling more people, right? Have we got long belated contracts for these people as well? If there's no room, like I'd much rather have 5 great people at the club running the strings than 10 mediocre people. Anyway.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out.
Yes. But back to the trades and draft. The pick 46 you mentioned earlier, that apparently we're not going to be using it anyway.
No, that's what I've heard. Now, I think everyone was assuming we were going to be using that for Tyler Welsh.
Well, we
But
don't
he's
need
dropped
to.
that far.
Yeah, it has dropped that far, but we can also go into points deficit. So you can go, I mean, the point deficit amount is like 2,000 points. It's like 30 picks or something ridiculous. So if Sydney Kinnear beats and, right, does his usual bullshit and bids on him, honestly, I think if it's anything above pick 25 or 30, we'll just let the club have him. We're like, nah, it's not worth it at the moment. He'll just come back. Anyway, other list managers know that, so we'll get him cheap. And you can, as long as you have a pick within 15 of the actual pick itself, and we got pick 64, then, yeah, it's all good. And we can always trade on the night too.
Yeah,
so our
of
future
course.
third could be
We
pick,
do
pick
like doing that.
47. So, yeah.
Well, it will be interesting.
Jad has a question or something he's seen floating around. Here's a question I've seen floating around. I probably didn't need to re-say that.
I
Jad with the
believe
gold.
something's been floating around.
Yeah. Does the off-season gets put pressure on Nix and force him to not continue to give games to the kids and build to the future due to finals pressure? And Chris Mills, Mr. Drawsome actually sort of backed him up and said something similar as well. So thoughts, Nuzz?
Yeah, I actually, it's definitely crossed my mind, and it's a bit scary. But it's also, it is on the kids to prove that they can be as good as certain players. It's what Nix needs to do is realise that some of the older players that he has just aren't actually that fucking good. Excuse my language. Sorry, there's just a kid walking past me. Sorry, Margo. And that's what I think the realisation needs to be, because a lot of the kids that we do have are good enough to play a good role in the AFL. We're just not giving them a chance because we have to put Laird in back pocket. We didn't have to do anything. Laird can fuck off if we choose to do so.
Yeah.
Why does he have to play? He doesn't have to play. If Laird's form and everything else warrant it, great, fantastic. We need more experience. But what form we see in people like Smith and Laird, and sorry to call them out, nothing personal, but it's a.
Well, they're two of the names everyone's.
But it has to set a standard, and we've just been letting that standard of the senior players drop, and then saying to a kid, "No, you have to get to this standard." Look, Damien Hardwick said it best. One game in the AFL is like 15 in the VFL. You've got to give at least 4 or 5 solid games, at least. And it doesn't matter what part of the premiership kind of ladder or clock you are. Look at Brisbane. They had a first year, Logan Morris was picked, I don't know, like pick 20 or 25 in last year's draft and played a key role, right? So give the kids a chance, give them faith, give them hope, and they won't disappoint, because I really do think we have drafted quite well. But what's the difference if we drop Laird for 5 weeks? What, we're going to upset Beryl and Cecil?
I think the big positive we have of the fact that we've been able to get someone like coming in is that they acknowledge that, you know, he's not super old, but he does have experience. So they're not desperate for someone like Smith to be in the back line, because you've got someone like him who has experience and can give that composure and whatnot to the younger players. So we can have experience, but not near the end of your tenure experience.
Yeah. I think it's great. I'm not sure if you guys remember a pod I did earlier in the year about what makes a premiership side or what makes a top 4 side. And one of the key points that all the teams did well was drafting secondary type players. And these 3 that we're getting in, Neil Bullen might be a little bit too old for that kind of profile, but Peatling and Cumming are the perfect examples of clever list management, cost bugger all to get in, and will instantly improve your side no matter where you are on the premiership clock. And, you know, Carlton, Richmond and Brisbane are all, you know, quite good. No, Carlton's a bit shitter, but the other 2 premiership winning teams did it.
They did well with getting someone like Akers in and whatnot, where it cost them nothing, but he was a really successful winger for them. So.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do is get these, and we hadn't been doing it for a long time. We got Rankin and Dawson, and that was pretty much it for a long period of time, and it was very frustrating when most people can see, why aren't we getting that free agent? Why aren't we getting that? They're better than that guy. So
I feel like
you're forgetting Burgess as well.
And, Well, I think everyone kind of had a sour taste in their mouth when Luko picked Port, and then but then they're like, oh, we don't really need him anyway. And now we've got these 2 guys. The thing with Nick's playing the kids that people are talking about in the chat is, like, I feel like I'm hoping, me being the positive glass half full kind of person that I am, you know me, I'm hoping that back end of last year has kind of opened up their eyes to what they can do. So, like, especially players like Curtin and Bond, Taylor, Dowling. Like, surely that sets the scene for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
You would hope.
Absolutely. There has to be a balance. We are still a very young side. Let's not forget that. But there has to be a balance in everything that we do. I just don't want to see us playing older players for the sake of playing an older player, even if they're desperately out of form, which you saw the first half last year. And, and hopefully we see the kids actually kids in the middle.
And we need to interrupt this broadcast because there is some late breaking news live from Kaltomi, and that is that the mega Port deal that would see Ratkins coming home to Port Adelaide is actually off. It's not happening. Port Adelaide will not be proceeding with this deal. Discussions will be paused now, leaving Houston
Port
back in limbo.
You've ruined my night.
Rory Atkins definitely ruined that trade. Everything else is perfect, and then they just shove Rory Atkins there.
That's probably all the bad press that got straight away.
It's because
poor Rat.
Someone brought that tweet up that Kane Corns wrote about Ratkins, and they were like, oh no.
Oh, poor Rat.
Josh said, so you're saying we have a chance
to get Rat back? Get the Rat back.
He's going to be 31 next year. How is he still on the list? Good on his manager.
He's on the list baffling.
Great on his manager. Well done.
But also, he's on the list because he's contracted still for another year.
But this is what I mean. Like he's contracted as a 31. Yeah, well done. Whoever his manager is, all players must go there because they have done very well.
They've done very well.
Just an earlier one for you, Nuzz, from Chris Mills, said Godden development coach thoughts.
I thought he said God and development coach. I'm like, that's the best development coach. Gary
Ablett.
There was always those rumours floating around, wasn't there? That he was.
Was he referring to Murray Davis? Is that what the question was?
No, he said Godden development coach.
Oh, yeah,
Michael
I know.
Godden.
Yeah, we just...
Is that legit?
Apparently, I don't know what... I mean, people can have titles. I don't know what actual role he's going to have at the club. We're going to have to see and watch game day to see what kind of role he has. I mean, it could actually be a backwards move with a bigger title. We don't know these things. But the fact that he's still there is a bit ick, in my opinion. Just move on, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to raise, and I'll have to nip off in a second, but the ruck situation is the one that still concerns me. And I know a lot of fans have talked about it, and I heard like an interesting take on it from Boise actually today online, because my main concern was them going around again with just Rob and Strawn, and Strawn's clearly not the answer for he's again pure depth, but when he played this year we got smashed and we looked terrible, even though his skills are better than Rob's. So yeah, I was just worried about that. And sort of Boise said, yeah, well, we've actually got, we look at it, the club internally are looking at us having 4 ruck options, because you got Thilthorpe and then Toby Murray as well. Is that the way everyone else sees it, or is it, because I don't really see Filthy as being the ruck solution in any form?
I think they just don't rate that role, to be honest. Rob is a great set and forget, and I haven't come around to Rob, but he's clearly revered at the club. He's obviously a great guy. And one good thing is that you can just leave him be, and he just does a role, right?
He just needs to be dropped once a season, then he'll
just once a season. Come on, Rob, up like a horse getting whipped. But we saw in perfect examples in finals, Oscar McInerney going down, them having a backup ruck. They won that game. They had Darcy Fort against Brodie Grundy. How much do you want to? And Phoenix actually mentioned this on the Crowcast as well a couple of weeks ago, is how many successful clubs and how many successful teams have had a top draft pick ruckman? Very few. And often they're, rookie listed or pre-season draft or something random, left field option. And that's what Rob is to us. Like, we got him at pick 8,000 or whatever it was back in the day. So we're not going to get Dodson, but there are definitely other options moving forward. I'm just disappointed that this year we're not getting one, but I'm hearing word about Sam Draper from Essendon. I cringe. I told you that earlier.
Does anyone like that?
Oh,
wow. Does anyone think that's going to be good?
I don't think anyone's going to get over him flopping that time.
Well,
yeah, you've got a lot of...
he can work for us for free, maybe.
There's a lot of water to go under that bridge, actually, isn't there?
There is. Unlike Neil Bullen giving Hamill the concussion that ended his possible career.
I did notice that Hamill has been delisted to fit him in. So.
Yeah, get out, Hamill. It's my spot.
Poor Will.
I know.
I'm sad about that.
That very sad.
But I think on the ruck department there is, Soldo obviously loves the state. He wants out of
his girlfriend
Port
loves his place.
Yeah.
Right?
He was at a Young Liberals convention the other day, so I think we'll pass. We don't need 2 right wing rucks. Alex Neil Bullen. Now we did a press conference with him the other day, and something about Alex Neil Bullen that we are lacking in the Crows, and that he's bringing, is the bogan swagger voice. He's got that local footy club, with the credit to the boys, and
that's a Melbourne thing. People who are from Melbourne, if you're in the chat, they say Melbourne, Malbun,
yes. But it's just something about how he's it's great. Like this bit, and we don't have a lot of that in the Crows.
Well, I'd also like to add as another point, Isaac Cumming, maybe the first Crow to have good music taste, because he likes Blink-182, and I'll take that. If you love or hate Blink, it's still better than most of the other.
Ben Keys. So my mate actually was at the Blink-182 concert, and Rory Sloane was there. This is when he got his eye surgery, and Rory, literally a pirate.
He still had to go to
so Rory Sloane, another Crow, I forgot who it was, but he said that Ben Keys was the biggest fan there. He was going absolutely mental at the Blink-182 concert.
So maybe I'll take it back.
Benny Keys.
We need a good goal celebration with some Blink, I reckon.
Yes, I agree.
Something about a pirate thing and going to something called Blink-182, but...
Yeah. Not very, yes.
He was Wink 182.
Wink. Not just really quickly, still on Blink. Oh. If Isaac Cumming does choose a Blink song, I'm putting in for feeling this to be his song. That'd be amazing.
Okay. Mateo's got a fun A and B fact. He can't breathe through his nose. He's literally a mouth breather. That's the kind of content we need.
Love it.
Mateo. Corey asks, with Cumming joining us, Worrell also making that halfback flank role. Can Miller force his way back in?
Yeah, I think so. Well, you need a squad to win a flag or to get top 4 spot. It's not just your best 22 or 23. Because there's going to be injuries throughout the year. It's a rolling team, and there's always a hard luck story in a prelim or a grand final every year. So there's a group of 28 or so players and Miller and his best can definitely be part of that 28, because he can play multiple roles. He can even go forward if you need him to as your 22nd player.
I don't know if we like that experiment that much. When we
I'm
did
just saying that, like, if the options are thin, the fact that he can play so many positions,
For
we don't
sure.
have
He's
many
a versatile
players.
guy.
We don't have many players that actually play so many different positions. To be
And
fair,
him and Cumming could even swap a wing to halfback or something.
yeah, there's many options out there.
Because Miller can get space and hit targets.
Yeah.
I think one of the bigger questions that's been coming out of the Adelaide Discord chat, especially, is where are we putting Dawson in all of this? Like, I love that Dawson's a plug and play type player, so we literally can put him anywhere. But I think I would rather see him either in the halfback flank or on the wing, because his intercept mark, I think, is pretty important at this stage.
Yeah,
Especially
and
since
forward
Rob
as well.
can't take marks anymore for some reason.
Poor Rob.
He used to be able to. What happened?
I don't know. Oh, cement brick hands.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully that improves.
yeah, just take off the cement. No, I've always said this. We'll have a successful midfield when we don't need to rely on Dawson in there. And I think we all know that because he was a stopgap kind of thing because we were so bad in the midfield, and then he just happened to do so well because he's an amazing player.
Yeah.
But he has his deficiencies in the midfield. He's still a great midfielder, a very good one, right? But he's not elite. But the thing that we need to remember is that any other position on the ground, wing, halfback, half forward, whatever, he's elite. And that's what we want out of him. So we just need our midfield to kind of lift their game and find that right balance. And whether that does or does not include Crouch, I don't know yet. It could be Crouch and 3 kids, for example. That's a much better balance, I think. But when we see Dawson not having to be relied on in the middle, that's when we know we're doing well.
And I think the last 2 years where he's been mostly middle, you could see his body has struggled to get through a full season.
Yeah.
Like he's really had foot issues, or he really slowed down the year before this one as well. So I think if he will get more longevity out of him if he's not all the time in the middle.
Yeah.
But what would you prefer, him with the rebound 50 or the inside 50?
Oh, he's a good kick too, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you just want to, which
He
end do you want him most?
Chuck him wherever. Like.
I'd say inside 50 is more important. It's I mean, there's less pressure nowadays on defenders getting rid of the ball because of the way that teams kind of move off a player.
Yeah.
You see that as soon as the handball gets out the back, that the team just run. And so that's why people like Worrell and, most of our defenders, bar, say, Butts, but even he's improved.
Yeah.
Most of them can hit a target because it's quite easy from defence to find fit a needle through a thread in the forward 50.
Yeah.
That's extremely hard to do. So we need Dawson. And that's why he won third in his best and fairest when he was, 22 at Sydney, playing on a wing because he was doing that. He was delivering the ball inside 50 constantly.
Look, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but thinking about this and naming all these names, I'm a little bit excited.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like now we actually have decent depth.
Well, we have 3 genuine upgrades
Big
coming
time.
in.
But they're all best 22.
With pick 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're all best 22, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's
And
the great thing.
Everyone's pretty stuck on pick 4 starting round 1. Not that we even know who it is, but we want them to be in the middle in round 1.
Yep.
And if that happens, I did my first 22 and that was hard, man. That was actually really hard.
A lot of good names are missing out. People like Pedler would miss out.
Yeah.
Schonberg is like bottom of the list, and he can play at AFL to a standard. So we finally got depth back, and it's been 5 years, so about bloody time.
Full pre-season into Edwards and Ryan.
Yeah.
And who knows
I'm
what
also
they can do
worried
next
about
year.
Nank. What's going to happen to Nank?
Yeah.
Like, he's a gun, but he also could just be depth at this point, especially with coming in.
But again,
coming in.
you need that squad of 28, don't you? So even if he misses out, he'll be the next person up, and that's what that list pressure, that extra 1% can make all the difference in elite sports, especially elite sports. So it's great for our culture.
I think Sam's favourite, Lockie Scholl, is going to have a lot of competition to keep. As good as his year was, he's going to have a lot of competition.
That's the other thing, my show man.
First
I'm
out,
worried.
really, I would have thought.
Well, just because you make the top 10 in the BNF one year doesn't mean you're in the team the next year. Look at Chase Jones.
That's right.
That's right.
Look, I just worry. I worry about these boys. Where are they going to go?
Monkey Magic said Dawson for inside 50 and Callum, that's a new name, I reckon. Callum Natras.
Hello, Callum.
Hello, Callum. I thought Dawson was one of the most inefficient inside 50 kicks this year in terms of inside 50 retention.
He was.
Interesting.
But I think he just had an off season and he had that foot injury. That was not what he was like in 2023.
Yeah,
he was actually
I
one of
agree.
our best inside 50 kicks.
Generally such a good kick.
Yeah,
Smart.
he had a shit year for his standards, I think.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Honestly, you play him on a wing where he's not, has been saying like rough and tumble all the time. I think he'll be elite back on that wing.
What Jaden says, I dropped Butts before Nankervis.
Yeah, well, Butts is another one. Like, where does he even fit?
Jake said, where does Berry fit in? I don't think Berry does fit in.
Berry fits in the samples squad at this point.
Well, Matt Crouch at the moment is showing more than Berry.
Yeah.
But this is, again, harking back to what Phoenix is talking about on the Crowcast, is that we need to keep an eye on the future. And Berry played very well last year, considering he was in, out, sideways, back and forth, sub constantly. If he just gets 5 games in a row and we say, you know what, like, sorry, Matt, you're not the future. We're choosing Sam over you. You've shown equal amounts in pre-season. In the games, maybe they both get 22 touches or something like that, and they pick Berry. They just need to give Berry a shot. And if he's not quite there yet, then I think we know he's not quite the answer moving forward. But this is the year for him. He needs to take the mantle off Matt Crouch, and then we need one bullocking type in there.
I think it was a combination of thinking we weren't going to get Peatling and also maybe slight concern over Crouch's shoulders. So he did have that AC injury, which, isn't great. And he came back from that pretty quick. So, I don't know. It's all cautionary, surely.
Yeah. Well, Peatling, the defensive midfielder type who can go forward. You can have 2 of them on your team, but often the successful teams are the ones that have the hybrid types who can go forward and back. Peatling is a great example. Hopefully he's our 25 touch forward back, 2-way running midfielder. Saligo has that ability to get there, I think, as well as others, but there's still a lot of work to be done in the midfield mix, that's for sure.
Very, very interesting to see what role they try Curtin next year.
Yeah.
Sub
again.
Curtin. Yeah.
Well, I think he can probably, he could go half back, half forward and be that kind of third key tool if we need it, spare. I'd probably prefer to see Curtin in the forward line than Tex, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we have to obviously transition away from Tex next year. It'd be crazy if he
at some point we have to, yeah.
He's too good not to play Dan Curtin at some position. I'm just checking Paddy Cripps. So AFL table. So first year, Paddy Cripps, and I say Paddy because he's that extremely tall.
Suggesting Curtin get 45 Brownlow votes next year?
I am, yes. Far out. Looking here. So Cripps in his first season wore number 16. How's that for trivia, by the way, instead of number 9? And had 3 average games, did fuck all. And then the next season, he did very well. But still kind of good for a youngster, 25 touches. And that was in a bad Carlton team, right? So there's a bit of, I don't know. I can see him getting 20 touches, but I don't see the opportunity that they'll give him. That's the problem. Because Carlton were crap back then. They needed someone, and you put any youngster there full time and they're going to get 20 touches. It's whether they get the opportunity. That's half the problem.
Curtin seemed like, with that knee all year, really seemed to slow him down. So if he can get a clean pre-season, you'd think it'll be hard to not give him a decent role, you'd hope.
Yeah, I think that it's going to boil down to how pre-season goes, really, isn't it? And that is way too far away.
Yes.
Anyway, should we wrap this chat up and Sam can do his little segment? Come on, do your little segment.
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, go on.
You can do that. All
You've
right.
probably got some trade-related shit in there. Jump around this side, Nuzz.
right.
We're switching sides because Dan's left.
No, I need to be.
He didn't even say goodbye to the viewers. What an asshole.
No. The old classic Dan.
Not that anyone needs to see me. But.
Oh, I just poured that out. Oh, shit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. There we go.
We're back. All right. So we're done talking about draft?
Well, I think
We haven't talked about draft. We've talked about trade.
We haven't
That's
talked about
true.
the draft
Trade,
yet.
that's all.
Draft is to come. That's still to come, I think.
Still to come?
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of draft talk in, I guess you'd almost say, my last official solo podcast after the trade period. So, and then all the other podcasts will be under the banner of Here We Crow. Exciting times.
Here we sensibly crow.
Yes.
We're always going to be sensible, of course.
No, don't change the name. It'd be like an autonomous province, like.
All right, I got
San
bugger
Marino.
all here, by the way.
If you want to know
Well,
what's
I've
in
got
the
some.
script,
Do you?
get
All
into
right.
Rowan Jarman.
The only good thing I had was, and this might be controversial, I don't think you'll be a fan, but I think the Geordie Greep album is the best album so far this year. Have you listened to it?
The what?
Geordie Greep. Did you ever listen to Black Midi?
No.
Oh.
Don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay. He's the lead singer of Black Midi, which was this like chaotic, I don't even know what you'd call them, sort of weird alternative rock sort
Okay.
of thing. They're all very talented people, and he's an extreme weirdo, and he's gone out and done his own album, and it is interesting,
All right.
interesting in an amazing way.
In a good
I'd
way?
love to know what you think.
Okay.
I don't think you'll love it, but
Send me the link. I'll listen to it.
it's my favourite. But that's
I'll
all I
listen to it
have.
at
So,
work tomorrow.
all right,
Well, I've got a good,
yeah.
and it's Josh Money related.
No.
So I don't know if you guys saw in the news, but Josh Money has been a dirty dog, y'all.
Yep.
So here's the scoop. Josh
right.
Money was married to a lady, a lovely lady, beautiful lady. In fact, I would say he was punching. Anyway, this is when he was a news reporter at Channel 9. He was married to this lady, and then he moved to Channel 7, and him and his wife split. They split. Okay, that's not the goss. So in the meantime, Josh Money has actually started dating his former colleague and friend, some Channel 9 newsreader, I can't remember her name. So they've gotten together, and this is a friend who they were friends with, that they were like hanging out with. They'd go celebrate birthdays together, yada, yada, yada. Now he's dating her, and now his ex-missus is dating that chick's ex-husband.
Oh, right. They swapped.
What? It's a wife swap.
Oh, my God.
Josh
Too
Money
much.
wife swap. And this guy is not attractive man. How is he getting all these hot babes? Anyway, I thought
Lying?
that was
this might
a
have
really
been
funny.
more salacious, like Nick Rewalt style.
Nah, I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there you go.
Also, it was even funnier that it was even reported, because all the Facebook comments were like, who's this? Who are they? Who? Yeah, that's right. Josh Money. No one knows who you are.
Yeah. And also,
that's it.
I also heard you say you were super excited to see Charlie XCX at Laneway.
Yeah.
Does anyone else on the lineup interest you?
No, not at
I
all.
thought that might have been the case.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of rumours before the lineup came out that, it was going to be the holy trinity of Charlie and Chappell and maybe Sabrina Carpenter or like one of those other people, or Lord or something. And I was like, damn, that is Laneway bringing it if that happens. But I was also a bit like, no way is Chappell Roan going to be doing Laneway. Like, she's
Yeah.
going to be doing her own headline shows. And it didn't happen.
But she's pulled out of everything, hasn't she?
Not everything, just a few things.
Yeah. Okay.
But Charlie, like, I'm happy to pay $200 to see Charlie XCX. But
Yeah, that's fair.
I know some of the names, but I just don't care about any of them.
No, one of the bands I actually like isn't coming to Adelaide, so that's
that's
excellent. Yeah.
Anyway,
And who's the bloke? Who's the bloke that's been announced today? Who?
that's
yeah.
Joe.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
what's
guy
he
from
from?
Stranger Things.
See, I saw the photo
He's
of
in
him, but
that. He does that. Back in Chicago, I feel it. You know that one?
no.
I did a really good rendition of that, everyone. So
I know
you
Stranger
better
Things.
not. You better not post that anywhere. But no, it was just a huge song that went crazy on TikTok.
yeah, okay.
So yeah.
Ben, you got any
Yes,
goods?
Tom, the TikTok song.
No.
I used all my pumping up stuff. So.
Okay, fair, cool. Nuzz, got anything good?
Well, 2 quick questions. Fire away. Honest answer. Were you disappointed when we didn't get Luco initially?
Yes.
Nah.
No?
I mean, yeah, he's a good player, but it's okay.
Wasn't hot enough for me, so I didn't
Yeah.
care.
I didn't want to pay him $1 million a year.
That's what my thinking was. It's
Yeah.
purely a salary cap thing.
Yeah.
He's the type of player that won't win you a grand final, honestly. And I think it's actually a good thing that Port are using up a lot of draft capital now. We all thought it'd be a second rounder. It's going to be like a future first.
Yeah.
Imagine if Port don't make the finals. It's going to be like pick 8. Lol.
Well, that was my relief, is that pick 4 was now safe. Because we didn't get
Yeah,
Lukasius.
absolutely. So that was my main thinking as well, apart from the salary cap. And who do you want in the draft? First name.
I'm just going to say Draper.
Yep.
There's been 3 that have been thrown in my direction that apparently are good.
Any of those?
Foss, Draper, and Laylor.
I like the fact that it's Foss, like the name is Foss Williams. Like that's actually
he's
cool.
already Foss.
Yeah. Apparently West Coast are into him, but apparently they're into everyone. So they got pick 3. I didn't ask you what was your.
They're trying to get. Well, someone's trying to get their pick 3, aren't they? Isn't Carlton's
Carlton's trying to
for
get
it?
pick 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that would be for one of the Vic lads. I'm not sure who. There's Jagger Smith and Finn O'Sullivan, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because someone like the Lawler with his explosiveness, but then you've got Draper who seems like he'll never leave us. So.
Yeah. I think Draper's best looks like Zach Butters, and his worst we can see his brother. And so there's a lot of kind of like fear about, and sometimes recruiters can look at what players can't do as opposed to what they can do. And what Sid Draper can do is be very quick, nimble and explosive around stoppage, which is something we just lack, to be fair. And I know Lawler can do that, but Sid Draper gets 28 touches a game.
Yeah.
And there's people out there, we don't want Sid and we don't... Honestly, any of these top 7 midfielders, Langford, Reid, the others we've mentioned, they're all going to be very good. They might not be as good as you were hoping, but they're all going to be best 22.
That's why I haven't really landed on a name. 1, because I don't pay enough attention, and 2, because I've listened to Sensible Crow, and Sensible Crow says we're going to be good either way.
Absolutely.
So it's all
nothing
good.
to worry about.
And
honestly.
realistically, for a long time we've been paranoid about it, our midfield being too small and whatnot. But we have quite large possible players in our midfield now. We've got Dowling's not short.
No.
Curtin's a bloody giant. And when Dawson's through there, he's really tall. So we don't actually need to be getting a massive, tall, powerful person.
But also physical size. If Sam Berry comes on, he's huge. Like he's as wide as he is tall.
So if we get an explosive player like a Draper, that's not now it's just another small midfielder. It complements the skills that we have. So
And he's not small. He's 182, 183, still growing. So that's at 6 foot tall. That's pretty standard. Look at Brisbane's midfield. They've got Jared Berry, who's quite tall, but Lockie Neal, their best one, 178. You don't.
Ashcroft seems to be going okay.
Yeah, he's 180, 181. So like we get caught up on size quite a bit. You need one, usually big one, and hopefully that's Curtin.
One more good. I don't know if this is true, but apparently I saw it. He had 119 posts on Instagram coming, but apparently he deleted one to go back there.
If
that's true.
I want that to be true so bad.
Well, yeah,
that's sold then.
That might be a Hall of
Chris
Fame.
Mills, you better not be spreading a salacious rumour that isn't true, because that is fantastic.
Yeah, that is
I almost
so
want
good.
us to get Sid Draper to spite Josh Money, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then he just comes out and says he loves the place. I can see why someone would be concerned about, the junior, but there's just shit reporting, let's be fair.
Well, just how unfair is it on the kid?
Yeah,
like he's
someone said
trying
that
to
in the
start
chat
his
earlier.
professional career in sport, and like, why are you throwing him under the bus like that?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Josh Money.
I mean, Josh Rochelle's still recovering from being thrown under the bus, isn't he? So,
No, I think he's all right now. He was out training without his shirt on.
He
Nuzz,
was.
so it's all good.
Yeah, what's with that?
It's hot. It was a
Was
hot
it?
day. Yeah.
have you done a pre-season? It's fucked.
It was a very warm day.
But honestly, I would much
more power to him.
much rather a game go into extra time and play 4 extra quarters than do a pre-season.
Yeah.
They are the worst thing.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
Look, I just was like,
As you can
imagine
tell,
It's
I've
just
never
running.
done a
It's
pre-season,
just
Nuzz.
running because you're not even with the ball, no skills, nothing. It's just like run over there. Oh, you run there, run over there now.
Yeah.
But
Great.
you're pretty pro slip, slop, slap, aren't you? So
Absolutely.
A bit of sun sense
That's it,
wouldn't go
exactly.
astray.
More of
See,
a rash top sort
if
of
I had
operator.
have stumbled upon that walking my dog, I would have been like, do you guys need a hand with that sunscreen?
You're gross.
I probably wouldn't have done that.
All right. It's past
And they
8:30,
would've
so it's
said,
after dark. So that's
No.
I don't even say hello to Ned McHenry in a nursery, so I probably won't.
poor old Ned.
Oh, dear.
Tom asked Nuzz his opinion on Langford. Think he's got a high ceiling, but also a big bust potential with his lack of burst speed.
Yeah, g'day, Tom. Well, again, I wouldn't be unhappy with him. He's definitely come on late to the scene. He was around last year where he was quite good, but he didn't show, I guess, that kind of ceiling. And I feel like he could be a bust, and I wouldn't think he wouldn't tank, but he might just be a run-of-the-mill type midfielder like Jared Berry, for example, because he's taken advantage of his size, which is one of the concerns about someone like Dan Curtin. But I think Dan Curtin has such a potential because he's so damn big. Like he's 198 basically. Like that's ridiculous for a midfielder. Whereas Langford's that generically tall one, which we can see a lot of those. Look, just have a look at Josh Smiley, who is touted as number one forever in a day, and he's just gone because all the other kids are coming up to his size. Langford is a sweeping left foot as well, which, you know, is definitely a positive and a plus, but I can see a world where he becomes quite mediocre in the AFL world. Bontempelli had a little bit more explosive factor and a bit more X factor about him, and when the ball got near Bont, people didn't really know what was going on, whereas Langford's, I guess, more run-of-the-mill type.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be unhappy with him, though, definitely.
Yeah.
And he's a Dandenong lad, so kind of half-fit country, so yeah, much less go-home factor too. So don't be unhappy if we get Langford.
Interesting.
What's your bads?
My bads.
Footwear
That was a long
sacrificed at
segment.
half price.
That was plenty of goods.
Slashed to half price.
With a bit of draft
Rowan Jarman
mix in
shoes,
between.
half price sale. Don't miss it.
I was going to start this off, and I'm going to put this at the start of the podcast as well, so we don't need to record it afterwards. But I also, considering I had no other jobs at the start of this podcast, I also didn't press record. So
Again?
the start of Ben's segment is missing. So I'm
Did that on purpose.
putting myself
Mate,
in the
you
bads.
are checked out. You have checked out.
I'm sorry, I was so worried about
honestly,
He's moving on to Channel 7, replacing Josh and Money's.
If you don't want a
Just record the audio off YouTube and put it on the start.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
you can just tell me if you don't want a goddamn quiz every week. It'll save me a bit of time.
No, most of it's there. Sorry, Ben. That is definitely a bad. I am trying to buy a house at the moment. I'm just putting bads is in the applying for a home loan. Just the most awfully invasive look at my poor spending habits I've ever had to do.
Oh, jeez. Did you close your sports bet account?
Well, that's funny you bring that up. So I have an account where my wage goes in, so I obviously have to give that over. But
your wage goes into your sports bet account?
Not directly. Not directly.
All right, Nathan Brown.
Some people have an offset account, others have
No, it goes into this account, but then it goes directly out into a joint account. But the problem was that the little dribs and drabs that I leave in there for me was just literally KFC and sports bet. So I quickly closed that account.
Oh, no.
But I still had to hand it over, which is a bit just depressing.
That's illegal. Yeah. It makes you feel like a criminal, doesn't it?
Seeing a stack of boxes won't stop me paying the mortgage, I promise.
I know, that's right. It's dinner. So anyway, that was horrible. But the worst thing this week is having to, well, actually not having to listen, but trade radio is just the pits. Generally I've really liked it, but this year the emphasis on some very average operators has meant that it's almost unlistenable with the ads included as well. Adam Cooney and Cam Luke together are just awful. And then you've got Ben's mate Purple and Jenkins in the afternoon. I actually think Kane's segment is the best one. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I don't mind Tom Morris as well.
Tom Morris has
Dan
been
Hanbury's
right.
clearly very nervous and new at the show. Like you can tell
He's too keen, isn't he? He just shut up for a second.
But no, I think he's still got a career in media and he's clearly very knowledgeable. Tom Morris is quite the professional, isn't he? But the fact that Kane's early morning program is the best one, that's pretty bad.
It is.
But they had it last year as the late trade was the best one. I forgot who was in that one, but it was Purple again and someone else. But no, Josh Jenkins, I'm not sure. He seems like the kind of guy that you just want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
And not be on radio.
Yeah,
It's like, mate, just get out of there and let's go to the fucking pub, would you?
Exactly, yeah. Let's concentrate on the trots thing.
Let's just have a beer, get drunk and have fun.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
And I mean, they have so many ads, so little content, that they end up, a lot of the stuff is like, how about this trade that went down 10 years ago?
Yeah.
The best of trades and this and that. There's just so little to talk about.
Or Brad Johnson reviewing midfields of teams that he's clearly never watched. It's great. Yeah, love that. So
No, it needs to be down to a week.
It does.
It's I think enough's enough. How much money can you squeeze from this program anyway? Like what are they getting an extra by the time they pay everyone? What, $500,000, extra $1 million? Like
Have you bought Continental Tires yet?
No.
Or
It makes me not want to buy IMAR insurance.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
I'm like, fuck you, IMAR. I don't want to buy
Tomorrow, my little red car is getting 4 new tyres.
Continentals.
Kumo.
See? Didn't even work.
Kumo. What's that brand?
I think it's not as expensive as some, but not the most.
Not the worst. Not the cheapest.
I tend to go for the somewhere in the middle sort of zone.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
They're like Mitsubishi compared to Toyota.
Yeah. Okay. Reliable. Maybe.
I hope so.
Know a lot about tyres, oddly enough.
I've got to do a bit of driving in it, so I hope so.
Yeah. Monkey Magic brings up that seedy Ricky Olorenshaw story as well. Did anyone read into that? Running a brothel in Bali?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
kind of
wife,
skimmed
yeah.
over it. I didn't really understand what the article was about.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the nitty gritty of it.
No, I'm about the same. That's kind of why I brought it up because I was hoping one of you guys.
Wasn't there another player who brought a murder or something into the club?
That was the Essendon
club room?
rooms, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
Isn't that Nick?
ridiculous.
Is it Nick Hine
That was Nick
doing
Hine,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Jake Stringer.
Because that happened during the year, didn't it?
I look
Earlier in
after
the
him.
year.
What? I mean,
Yeah, that was like that was
can
actually
you sound
hilarious.
any more dodgy? Like,
Yeah.
And like BT just being so like naive, you know, about it. Like, oh, so what do you mean? Like, what kind of things does he do? Like,
Yeah.
well, actually, he sells me pingers on the weekends,
yeah.
and he's my holdover guy for all my debts.
Yeah,
all right.
that's right. Mr. Drawsome also said, any word on the new logo? Well, we don't know anymore yet. Nothing's been, or absolutely nothing's been announced.
I'm pretty sure it will be soon because,
yeah.
like, if they're printing on stuff,
Yeah.
it's going to be in a new
But
kit.
You'd think they'd just include it in a season launch or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just what's the point at the end of this year where we're done with the year?
They can work on it pretty quick. You'd be surprised how quickly you can implement new logos, even onto Guernseys. I mean, they've got direct lines with the O'Neills. Like, they'd be their first port of call besides the Gaelic footy over there. They can get them done within a week, you know. So it wouldn't be too much of a stretch.
Yeah.
They've got to get the shit out to the players first before they launch it to the public.
They've got to get the reaction checked by Kane Corns before they
That's
officially
it.
launch it as well.
And get the purple hats as well for you, Ben, so you can reinvest.
Get some hats that will not stay colour fast.
What else is going on in here? Anyone got anything else they want to say? What else has been happening? We've already done a bit.
Did I say I had a bad?
Probably.
Because if I did, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone else has got anything good to say.
Anything good to say? I don't know when the interview will be with Justin Reid yet. I still got a contact. I've only confirmed it with Reese that I'm doing it, but when it is, it's usually from memory. Memory's not as like it used to be. It's like Tuesday after trade period, so it's probably and then editing. So a week and a half, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
you can ask him about Collingwood.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll do it in a friendly way.
Yeah.
I like, that's kind of my style. With it. Try to get as much information, friend. No, I get along well with Justin. He clearly knows what he's talking about. And I do feel like his hands are tied in a lot of decision making. And I can see there's always two sides of any argument, I can see where he's coming from with the ruck argument. I just don't agree with it. But it's not like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And if you actually think about the intricacies of dealing with player managers and all the bullshit that's required, the spreadsheets of like dealing with trade caps and all that kind of stuff, like it'd be a nightmare of a job sometimes, I think. And it's not that I don't think he's done an amazing job, but at least he's done a job. So, you know, good on him. I hope all the best for him, and I hope he does move to Collingwood, I think, fairly. And I think he might even agree that it's best for all parties to move on, especially if it's him moving upwards in his career. Like, great, good on him. We've got a fresh opportunity. He's got a fresh start. Fantastic.
Just to stir the pot, trades a future pick to Collingwood.
Yeah, imagine that. Fuck, then we definitely know. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Justin. No, but he gets along well with Craig Kelly. I think that's one of the reasons why. So I can see that happening, but there wouldn't be any list. But apparently, I don't know if it was Tim that was speaking about it, but apparently there's going to be some movement in the recruiting list management space anyway, but that would be next year.
Okay.
So I don't know what's happening there. We'll see.
Tom said bad is the BNF presentation. Was it that bad?
Or the Bernie Vince thing with Riley Thilthorpe. Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah. Well, he mentioned that.
That was the most awkward thing I've ever seen.
I missed it because I was out and I
felt
missed the
Riley.
stream.
I felt Riley like quite upset with Bernie Vince and Bernie's.
What happened?
Because he kept giving answers and Bernie said they were boring or something. Was that?
Yeah, but then he's like, and Bernie's there like with that weird microphone fucking disturbance, and he's like, yeah, apparently you haven't contacted your mum for a few days, whatever, and he's like, mate, you've asked that question like 5 times. Get some new material. He said straight to Bernie's face, and it was like one step down from like, mate, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What are you waffling about?
Why was Bernie doing interviews?
I think they thought he'd be quite comical.
Oh, good.
Or have they listened to him on the radio?
Yeah,
like,
I
I
would've-
like the show, but Bernie's the worst part of it.
Sometimes less is more in those sorts of environments. Just stick to the basics, make it boring but professional, and people will just accept it for what it is and be pleasantly okay with it.
How about get some unknown funny cunts like us to do interviews?
Lucky the kids have gone.
I think it might be language like that is why they haven't.
I think it's absolute bullshit. We should have been on that red carpet. Would have been funny.
It would be quite nice to go to a best and fairest.
You putting the call out?
Oh, if they.
Well, they've invited us to the club.
Well, how did
Boise
Boise get there?
Well,
Is that
because
a-
he
was that
works
a
at Hungry
HJ?
Jacks, mate.
That's a
He's-
HJ's link.
He's the sponsor.
Yeah, true. He organises those shoots.
Your favourite person was there, wasn't he?
Who's that?
Cricket Tragic.
Oh, was he?
I thought I saw him posting from the event.
Oh, maybe.
Or whether that was someone else posting to him and he got the photos and posted it itself, I don't know.
He seemed to be
He was very adamant he was
was
there.
there.
He's very adamant. He's got the best.
Non-verified, we don't know this. This is the thing.
No, it's these people in Melbourne. They've got it.
Anyway, he was on the Reds, old Cricket Tragic, and
I'm starting to get
had a bit of a hangover.
I actually really like Cricket Tragic and what he did to our trade period. I think it's pretty funny.
I don't know. I think he might have dropped off.
Is he gone?
He's jumped the shark a little bit.
I think he got so much abuse on Big Footy, he's gone.
Oh, poor Cricket Tragic.
Oh man.
Yeah, in his defence, he did seem like he might have been a more older gentleman who might have got a bit of a baptism of fire on Twitter. So,
Well, in the tag, it actually says 1965. his
oh,
thing.
it does too. That's what made me.
Yeah.
So it's
that's why
literally
I thought
like
it.
60 years old.
Tom
Yeah.
said he was there, and apparently the security guard kept coming over to his table. I wonder why that was, because he was trying to
Because he shouldn't
take
be there.
videos.
Well, who the fuck
Is
are
that
you?
what he
Get out.
said? Yeah.
Well, it is a bit of a mystery of who Cricket.
If you're
Tragic
listening,
is.
Cricket Tragic, please tell us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dial in. Well,
Yeah,
not tonight
absolutely.
because
Yeah.
I don't have the phone turned on.
And we're about
Maybe
to-
next week.
Kill.
Red Lion said Cricket Tragic is so good though at regurgitating other people's info. Yes.
Oh, look,
Anyway, a bit of fun.
you got to enjoy it.
Yeah,
don't you?
exactly. That's it. All right, we
All right,
done.
we're
Well, we
done.
can't do social. Well, we didn't put any social media
Yeah,
calls
no,
out.
we've got
did
no
we?
social
And-
media, but-
and thanks for people in the chat. The chat's gone mental.
Yeah,
tonight,
thanks for
actually.
joining us, everyone.
Yeah, and thanks. Yeah, considering it's such an off week.
Yeah. We'll be
for
back
us,
in another
sort
couple of
in
weeks.
Way.
and
Yeah.
we will be letting you know the details of our live draft night.
It's
Because
happening.
that is coming soon. It's pretty soon.
It is.
Anyway, other than that,
Very good.
you got anything, Ben?
Well, I'm going to say a 35-point win against Collingwood.
Oh, yeah?
I'll also, actually, since you did talk to me,
Also, people wrote Reid left meeting in the chat, which is such a good line.
That's actually the name of our draft channel in the Adelaide
Oh, is it?
FC Discord. at
Should we call the
moment. It's
episode
just Reid
that?
left meeting.
That's
yeah.
like a great starter band name, isn't it?
It
Reid
is.
left meeting.
Yeah.
Jimmy Eat World style.
There's more coming in. So good.
since it's been three games, very, very, very quick AFLW fantasy. I lost and I'm dropping. I'm in third.
I'm also dropping.
Dan's got the momentum. He's coming off a 2100. He's in fifth. Lauren had a win on the weekend. She is seventh. Sam still has a team and he is on 12th.
I have not opened it since round one.
Well, you've still got a team
Oh, good.
and you're 12th.
Excellent. Wait for Young Bean to put in the sleepy emoji.
Well, I think that was a pretty rapid, quick summary.
Very good. Love it. All right.
Slightly
well,
done.
Snags is first.
thanks very much, everyone. And
thanks for
thanks
joining
for
us,
dropping in, Nuzz.
My pleasure.
To give us the old trade and draft updates. We'll definitely be in touch with you over the next few weeks. Looking forward to your Justin Reid interview when that comes up. And yes, we'll be back in a fortnight's time
Yes.
with the AFLW catch up. Let's go, Crowy girls. Get up there. I tip Crows to win by 55 points.
36.
And I reckon the North Melbourne game, we're either going to show that we're a contender or we're going to be found out quite significantly.
That's
Yes.
right. And I hope we're all going to get to that game. Friday night game, we should be there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we all going now?
Yeah.
All right.
See you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
See you guys.
See you later.